Welcome to Study Loop.
All right, so we have 14.5 grams of iron, 20.0 grams of sulfur, and they are combined to form iron 3 sulfide. Now, the formula for iron 3 sulfide is iron, 2 irons and 3 sulfurs, right? And that's because the iron is 3 plus. If you get 2 of them, that makes 6. So you would need 3 sulfides at minus 2 each to total 6, right? And you need 2 and 3 because that's the lowest common factor at which they'll meet, right? Because if you just have a single iron 3 plus, there's no multiples of 2 minus that will equal, 3 minus, right? You would need 1.5 sulfurs, but that's impossible. You can't have half an atom. Okay, so then the questions about this are, what is the limiting reagent for this reaction? And then what is the yield of iron sulfide, iron 3 sulfide? So what we're going to need is the molecular weight of iron so that we can figure out how many moles of iron we have, and the molecular weight of sulfur so we can figure out how many moles of sulfur we have, and whichever is the lowest is our limiting reagent. So we'll take 14.5 grams of iron, and we will multiply it by 1 mole iron for every 55.845 grams of iron, right? This is the molecular weight of iron, okay? And we will put this in our calculator, 0.2596 mole of iron. Okay, and we will do the same for sulfur. Okay, so the molecular weight of sulfur is 32.065. So we'll take our 20.0 grams of sulfur and multiply it by 1 mole of sulfur for every 32.065 grams of sulfur. This comes from the molecular weight of sulfur. And what do we get? 0.6237 grams, or moles. 6237 mole of sulfur. Okay. So the next important thing is that we've got to recognize that to make a single atom of iron sulfide or a mole of iron sulfide, we need 2 moles of iron and 3 moles of sulfur. So to determine the limiting reagent, what we want to do is divide each of these numbers by their respective stoichiometric coefficient, 2 and 3, to determine which of them we have the least of, right? So if we take the moles of iron we have and divide it by 2, 2596 divided by 2, we get 0.1298. Okay. So this is like saying we have enough iron to make 0.1298 moles of iron sulfide, right? Because we need 2 moles of iron for every mole of iron sulfide we create. And we have enough sulfur to make 0.6237 divided by 3, 0.2079 moles of iron sulfide, right? So this has to do with the ratio between iron and iron sulfide being 1 to 2, and the ratio between sulfur and iron sulfide being 1 to 3. So our limiting reagent then is the iron. And coincidentally, this is exactly how many moles of iron sulfide we can expect to make, right? If we take the number of moles of iron we have and divide it by 2, right? Because we need 2 in each mole of iron sulfide, we get 0.1298 moles of iron sulfide, and we've got plenty of sulfur, right? We have enough sulfur to make this much iron sulfide. So now the question then is, what is our yield of iron sulfide, or our theoretical yield? Well, we take this number of moles of iron sulfide that we can make, and we figure out how much it weighs. Okay. Okay, so the limiting reagent is iron. Okay, so we'll take 0.1298 moles of iron sulfide, and we'll use the molecular weight of iron sulfide. And we'll multiply this, then we get 207.9 grams for every 1 mole of iron sulfide. Okay, so 207.9 times 0.1298. And our theoretical yield in grams will be 26.9854, which we have 3 sig figs, let's remember. So this is going to round to 27.0 grams iron 3 sulfide. That is our yield.